Let's quickly talk about FreeTaxUSA. So this is a FreeTaxUSA review, and the question is, you have good value, but is it really worth it? So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about FreeTaxUSA, I want you to think about a software provider that really allows you to file all kinds of tax returns, not only the federal, but also your state tax return, not a problem, okay? And so it has a clean interface, it has solid support features, and it has an efficient question and answer process. This is just fantastic. I mean, when you think about FreeTaxUSA versus, let's say, H&R Block or Tax Act or TaxSlayer or TurboTax, you have a relatively affordable sort of tax provider. So FreeTaxUSA is more affordable than all the other players on the market right now. And what we love about FreeTaxUSA is that you are able to file taxes quickly. Now, the one thing you need to remember that FreeTaxUSA doesn't have the depth and breadth of support that you will get with H&R Block. So let's say if you have a we think FreeTaxUSA is better for folks who have uncomplicated tax returns. And if you don't need a lot of guidance, you will love that software too. Now, if you have a quote unquote a complicated tax return, or you would love to have somebody actually guide you over the phone, or let's say in a live format, then you want to go with H&R Block or you want to go with TurboTax. Okay, then you really have the depth and breadth that is needed for those tax filing situations. So self-employed filers looking for a cheap way to file their taxes could be well served by FreeTaxUSA. And tax prep plans for gig workers and freelancers are usually the costliest commercial software. And so those are things you need to think about. And while FreeTaxUSA does not let you import multiple 1099 forms, you can enter as many as you want completely free. So this is kind of cool. FreeTaxUSA, in our view, may also appeal to filers who don't mind reading a lot. So the interview questions are well organized and the help content is comprehensive, but there is no graphical or design elements to break up long sessions of words. So this is kind of important. And you might like filing with FreeTaxUSA if you don't qualify for free federal tax returns elsewhere, if you value affordability over convenience, and if you don't mind extended wait times for customer support. Okay. Now, who should not use FreeTaxUSA? Well, FreeTaxUSA does not allow foreign employment income. Other rare tax situations not covered by FreeTaxUSA include non-resident alien returns, so Form 1040-NR. At risk limitations, this is Form 6198. Casualty or theft, gain or loss from a business, or donations of property over $5,000. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let's talk about the setup here. So how does FreeTaxUSA really work? Well, like most other tax software, FreeTaxUSA starts you off by either importing a PDF of your prior year's tax return or collecting your personal information via the online form, right? Pretty straightforward. Aside from this, there is no other option to upload files. So if you are a freelancer with multiple 1099 forms, you have to input the information manually. So this is a bummer though, but hey, listen, it is what it is. And FreeTaxUSA's integrated help features are impressive in our view. So you have contextual question marks that provide valuable, straightforward information and popovers that don't actually spawn new tabs or browser windows. A very useful help with this page link provides all the support answers related to the particular section of the tax return you are currently completing. And you can click where do I enter for shortcuts to pages where you can enter specific tax details. You can also use the deduction dictionary to get specific information on how to claim and where to record 127 different tax deductions and credits. So this is kind of cool. And while FreeTaxUSA provides useful tax information, it really lacks the graphical interfaces of higher price competitors that simplify the process. This is something that they really need to work on. For example, FreeTaxUSA explains the differences in tax filing statuses, but instead of making a recommendation, it then leaves it up to you to select your filing status. It does make sure to confirm your filing status during the review of your return, since it is a common mistake in many tax returns, okay? And so FreeTaxUSA's got it question and answers process is well organized and efficient in our view. And the software often marks the most likely answers for some of the less common tax questions. You can easily click through forms without selecting every single yes or no. The navigation of FreeTaxUSA splits up into a personal finance, income. You have deductions, you have miscellaneous, you have summary, you have state return, and filing status. And the drop-down menus from each section provide a detailed list of what's included. That's really cool. We love that. But the thing is that you can't really jump ahead to many sections until you reach them via the guided process. So again, here in terms of flexibility, not really that flexible. So after completing each of the income and deductions sections, the bulk of your tax return, FreeTaxUSA provides a useful and pretty helpful screen for reviewing all of your details and confirming that every item is correct and nothing has been missed. So long story short, you have the flexibility here. What are the specs you have to really pay attention to when we think about FreeTaxUSA? First of all, as the name implies, FreeTaxUSA is free, but only for filing federal returns. So to add a state return, you need to pay like $14 to $25. Optionally, you can get advanced support with the deluxe add-on, so that will cost you about $7 to $10. And deluxe includes priority access to support agents, live chat and audit assistance, step-by-step instructions, plus unlimited amended returns. And but this does not include answers to questions you may have about preparing your taxes. For that, you have to pay an additional $34.95 all the way to $50. And so it's really, it might be a little high, but it's still a good deal when you compare it to what H&R Block, TurboTax, Jackson Hewitt, or all the other players are charging. And so Cash App taxes, like it's kind of similar to FreeTaxUSA in the sense that you have the free portion here. And FreeTaxUSA is safe to use, not a problem, because FreeTaxUSA is an authorized IRS e-file provider. So it really meets or exceeds the security requirements outlined by the IRS. And since the IRS website uses SSL certificates, your connection is encrypted and sensitive information should be safe. And the company also complies with rigorous data security standards to protect against the theft of your payment information. So this is kind of cool. We love that a lot. And so when you think about FreeTaxUSA, I want you to think about two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. Okay. And so one thing I want to say here is that the service is easy to use, not a problem. It's not really, except the little graphical the graphical things that I mentioned earlier in terms of making the process a lot easier. FreeTaxUSA is relatively easy to use. So in terms of UX, the UX user experience is just fantastic. Okay. And because they give you a good intro, they actually begin with a good introduction that explains the navigation tools that you have within eFileUSA. I mean, not eFileUSA, within FreeTaxUSA. Okay. And so you are able to, you can see an optional tour of the tool to see if it really suits what you're looking for. But overall, fantastic. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about FreeTaxUSA. So this is a FreeTaxUSA sort of review. Let me talk to you about the special tools that you get with FreeTaxUSA. So FreeTaxUSA incorporates some of the best tax preparation conventions that you currently have on the market. So you basically have a questionnaire, so a question and answer sort of process. You are able to actually access your state return. Actually, you can file multiple state returns through FreeTaxUSA. Okay, but remember though, for each state tax return that you're actually filing, you are going to pay extra. So the only the federal portion is free. Okay, and it's one of those things where you have to understand that you are able to either manually enter your income or you can actually use the upload function, not a problem. So FreeTaxUSA has an upload function that allows you to actually get your data in their system ASAP. It's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. But once you actually once you have uploaded everything, the calculation can start, not a problem. So you can enter any W-2s, you can enter any 1099 miss, you can actually enter Schedule C, you can actually prepare your Schedule C, business rental income. You can also enter 1099 INT. So you can enter all kinds of 1099s, not a problem at all. I mean, FreeTaxUSA accommodates that, not a problem. But as I said before, their upload process, their question and answer process is not as robust as what you would get if you were to go with H&R Block or you were to go with TurboTax. Okay, so it's one of those things where it's really, you have to strike a balance between flexibility and affordability. So FreeTaxUSA is affordable, but in terms of flexibility, not always flexible in certain situations. So it's one of those things where you got to ask yourself, what's important to you? Do you sort of value flexibility, or do you value something else? So this is something that you're going to have to pay attention to in terms of how early you want to file your tax returns. So the thing here is that another question that people ask when it comes to the specs, is there extra help for Form 1099K in FreeTaxUSA? Well, it really depends. So the thing is that if you actually receive more than 20 grand in payments this year, you should receive a 1099K, and you got to report that. And FreeTaxUSA pays a special attention to this issue. So it shows you a list of third-party payment processors and other companies that may have sent you a 1099K. And so when you check the boxes next to the appropriate ones, FreeTaxUSA asks you why you received the form, such as for personal transactions, rents received, or a business, including gig work. And the final page tells you where the form should be entered, usually Schedule C, business income. And you can also claim deductions and credits in FreeTaxUSA. This is pretty straightforward. I mean, this is what we have seen. It's one of the easiest ways to claim deductions and credits in a tax preparation software we have seen. So they actually do a great job here because they allow you to really do things pretty straightforward. And this section, the deductions and credits section, works similarly to the income section. So a page for itemized deductions contains links to topics like mortgage interest, taxes paid, and medical expenses. And so this is kind of cool. And we also love the fact that with FreeTaxUSA, you can actually get proactive guidance. But the thing is, you need to actually pay for some of the most advanced topics. And but overall, it's a free, as I said before, for filing taxes at the federal level. But when it comes to state level, or if you have some special or some specific situation, then you're gonna have to pay for it. Okay. Now, FreeTaxUSA offers multiple types of help, and some of its support features have actually they used to charge back in the days. Now they're free. It's just the amount of time you have to wait. Like, you have to wait via email, and it can be for 24 hours. So if you are in an urgent situation where you need let's say you need answers quickly, then you really want to go with a competitor. But if you're comfortable, if you're fine with waiting 24 hours or even longer, then you will get the answers. Now, if you were to pay for it, if you were to pay for a service, then they actually have this. They have an add-on that gives you actually priority support and live chat. I mean, so they call it like if you're paying extra $7.99 to $12.99 for the deluxe version, you can contact priority support and live chat, not a problem. So you get you get answers ASAP. Now, if you were to pay even more, if you were to pay $34 to $50, you can talk to a specialist. Your tax questions will be answered by a certified public accountant or enrolled agent. And so this is kind of cool. And it's one of those things where you got to really ask yourself, again, going back to what I said, what do you need for your taxes? Okay. So should you actually use a FreeTaxUSA? Again, it's all about the situation. If your tax situation is complex and you can't afford one of the more expensive tax prep options, then FreeTaxUSA might serve you well, considering its usability, thorough coverage of tax topics, and guidance options. In our view, it might also be a great option, a great choice for taxpayers who have a modest self-employment income to report from a side gig or a very small business, given the cost of competitors that support Schedule C. Plus, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about FreeTaxUSA. So this is a FreeTaxUSA review. Let me talk to you about the value added here. So when we talk about FreeTaxUSA, what is the value added? Well, the thing that we love about the FreeTaxUSA is that basically federal returns are free, regardless of how advanced your needs. But one state return will cost you $14.99 all the way to $25.99. Okay, that's I really want to establish that. And some competing tax software providers offer free and state returns for simple tax situations. For example, if you have Cash App taxes. So FreeTaxUSA is missing, in our view, a few nice-to-have features like the ability to talk with a tax professional or upload documents for a quicker data entry. And it's one of those things where you got to really, again, going back to what I said, it's all about what really is important for you. And when we think about FreeTaxUSA, think about affordability, but think also about your personal situation in terms of what you really want in the end. It's one of those things where you got to ask yourself, am I getting the specific help that I need? Am I getting the specific am I getting the help that I need? Okay. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about FreeTaxUSA, I want you to think about the fact that you have a clean and modern interface, that's for sure. But to get priority customer support, you got to pay for it. And so this is great if you have a large family, a quote unquote complicated tax return, or you have a business, but not so small, like you have a regular small business, and you really need to you need some kind of help in terms of your Schedule C, and also some kind of help in terms of your Form 1065 or 1120S or 1120. It really depends, okay? And but if you have that situation, it's just a lot better to pay for stuff. So this is where you want to really pay FreeTaxUSA to really help you out. You can have a CPA helping you out. So what are the features that you really need to avail yourself of in FreeTaxUSA? Well, first of all, you have Form 1040, that's for sure. And you have a tax software that's great for self-employed. So we're talking about freelancers, contractors, and gig workers. And the big difference with FreeTaxUSA is that all the plans are completely free at the federal level. Okay. And so you have, for instance, you have the ability to also pay your if you were to file your state tax return, you have the ability to pay your return via credit card. So FreeTaxUSA allows you to do that. You can even pay your federal return also via credit card. This is just fantastic. So what is our verdict here? So when you think about FreeTaxUSA, is it software that we recommend, that we support? Yes, definitely yes. This is great software. The software is really great. I mean, if you were to accept all some of the things that I mentioned in terms of graphical sort of the representation, overall the UX is great. So this is really fantastic. You have great features. You have a comprehensive tax software that really will help almost any taxpayer file their taxes at no cost. Okay, it doesn't provide the sort of hand-holding and expert support that top software does, but it includes well-organized and contextual tax help that provides many answers to common tax questions. So this is kind of cool, but overall, fantastic option. So we recommend it. It's safe. It is legit. Of course, FreeTaxUSA has been in business for a while. It is an authorized IRS e-file provider. So you have a great sort of I would say criteria, a great seal of validation there. So this is really good. And FreeTaxUSA is really free. Yes, it is free if you file taxes at the federal level, but you have to pay for the state level. But otherwise, fantastic. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I gave you a quick overview of FreeTaxUSA, a quick review. So I gave you the overview, the setup, the specs. I spoke about the value added, the features, and the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.